Hi all, how are you doing? Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. All right, I really apologize for this. I should have covered this project ages ago. Someone put me onto this a couple of months ago and I completely forgot about it. So this is the Lightning Shared Scooter Company, or LSSC. All right, and the idea is that you would put your money in, okay, which would then buy these scooters, which would then get rented out, and then you'd basically get some yield from that renting out. All right. So I think this project is pretty much kind of done and dusted, maybe. All right. But just in case you're thinking about putting your money into it, if that's still possible, you don't want to do that because it's a Ponzi and it's potentially coming right to the end of it anyway. It's already got they've changed their domain name multiple times from what I can gather. It's pointed out in the securities administrators of Canada. So Lightning Shared Scooter LSSC Canada, issued by the Financial and Consumer Affairs Authority of Saskatchewan. Okay. The Financial and Consumer Affairs Authority of Saskatchewan warns investors in Saskatchewan of the online entity known as Lightning Shared Scooter Co., also known as LSSC Canada. Lightning Shared Scooter Co. claims to offer Saskatchewan residents trading opportunities, including cryptocurrencies and investment contracts. Lightning Shared Scooter Co. is not registered with the FCAA to trade or sell securities or derivatives in Saskatchewan. The FCAA cautions investors and consumers not to send money to companies that are not registered in Saskatchewan, as they may not be legitimate businesses. Okay, so basically that's a warning. The Better Bureau, okay, Better Business Bureau, BBB. So this is an American um, company which basically looks at businesses and stuff. Lightning Shared Scooter, LSSC, presents itself as a legitimate scooter rental management platform where users can supposedly earn passive income by renting electric scooters via a mobile app. However, there are several red flags and deceptive practices that suggest LSSC is operating as a Ponzi-style scam rather than the real transportation business. The platform requires users to invest funds under the guise of purchasing scooters that are then supposedly rented out, generating daily returns. In reality, there is no proof that any scooters are being deployed or used in public locations. The earnings users receive appear to be paid from the deposits of newer users rather than actual business venture revenue. Key warning signs, no app store listing. Okay, so when you go there, I think there's like there was an Apple and Google sort of download, and I don't think it's on there. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong site here. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what the official site is? Um, where are we up to? So in reality, there's no proof of any scooters. The earnings users receive appear to be paid. Key warning signs, no App Store listing. Platform does not exist on the Apple App Store or Google Play, which is unusual for a global scooter rental business. Exactly. You know, the idea would be that you could try to download an app and then see if you can get a scooter from somewhere using the app, I guess. Users are asked to download the app from a website similar to the behavior of a known scam called CBEX. Changing domains, LSSC has changed its website domain multiple times with a short span, which is a tactic often used by scams to avoid detection of blacklisting. Emphasis on recruitment. Users are pressured to invite others. So in other words, create a pyramid scheme, a pyramid structure, get more users underneath you, and it builds and builds. And that's how you keep the Ponzi going. This behavior prioritizes recruitment over actual scooter-related operations, resembling pyramid scheme models. Exactly. Whenever someone pressurizes or not, whenever the business talks about more about getting a downline and stuff like that, rather than how great this scooter is and why people should rent it out. Okay, they emphasize more on getting a downline. So obviously that's more important to the business than actually anything to do with the scooter. Then the scooter's completely unimportant. Emphasis on recruitment, users are pressurizing to invite others in exchange for bonuses. This behavior prioritizes recruitment over actual scooter-related operations, resembling pyramid scheme models. Lack of transparency. There is no clear information about the company's CEO, team, or verifiable address, which obviously is a big red flag in this. I mean, why would you, if you've got a multi-million dollar sort of company, why wouldn't you have like offices or a CEO who's out there showing his face, giving confidence to the business that there's actually a proper business behind it? Legal documents are vague and no terms of service or privacy policy is publicly accessible. So it looks like the website's a little bit dubious, poorly done. False licensing claims. LSC claims to be registered in Hong Kong and hold a US MSB license. Excuse me, but no verifiable documentation has been provided. These claims may be fabricated to create a false sense of legitimacy. Connection to previous scams, LSSC closely resembles CBEX, a platform that used nearly identical investment methods and ultimately collapsed, leaving users unable to withdraw their money. I think CBEX might have been it sounds like it was an exchange similar to, was it PCX that I covered, I think? So instead of having an exchange, they're basically using a scooter as the as an exchange, I guess, as the thing behind it. I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't really matter what the object is. Okay, it's just a case of getting your money in and then slowly returning it to people using other people's money, basically, which is what the Ponzi scheme is. Currently, there are online videos and community discussions emerging that accuse LSSC of being a scam. Early investors may have made small profits, but these payouts appear to be used to maintain trust and bring in more users. As with typical Ponzi schemes, when new investments slow down, platform will likely collapse and users will lose their funds. And this is the other thing is about early investors who get greedy, reinvest their amounts and potentially end up losing everything as well. Okay, so and that's how the Ponzi can keep going as well, because the people who've said they've made money haven't actually made money because they haven't taken it out. They often take it out and then put it back in again, thinking, well, I don't know what to do with this money. It's been earning like 0.5% a day or 1% a day. I might as well put it back. Okay, and then you can just end up losing it all basically. So LSSC is a Ponzi scheme, and it looks like it's coming to the end. What can we learn from this? So a few things really. Check out registered businesses. Check out CEOs. Who is a name. If they aren't registered and they don't have a CEO, they don't have a team that you can verify that kind of thing, then you got to start waving those red flags to yourself and think this is not a legitimate business. Or should I say, it might be a legitimate business, but why should I put my money into this when I've got a red flag here? And that is the thing. When you invest in a business, you want all the ducks in a row. You want everything to be right. So if you start seeing a few red flags, just don't invest in it. Why risk it for the small biscuit? Okay. When you could lose it all. You may as well try and invest in something that's solid. All right. And the only thing I can think of really that's solid personally is, as some of you may well know, it would be something like Bitcoin. All right. I wouldn't recommend anything else because it's not finite. Gold isn't finite. There's now little microbes which are pooing out gold, apparently. There's comets flying about the solar system and the universe that are laden with gold, probably. Hello, cat. Cat's come down. So, Yeah, I mean, if you don't feel 100% about a business, don't invest in it. And this kind of thing can be these Ponzi schemes just come up all the time. People think of a good idea, okay, and the thing is, this is like a good Ponzi because it looks kind of real in terms of, oh, I can imagine hiring out scooters. I can imagine renting out scooters. All right. So it's got some legitimacy behind it. Um, but clearly there's some red flags on for this project. I mean, renting out scooters sounds like a good idea, but unless you've actually rented the scooter out and can see the mechanics behind it all, how the maths works, then you shouldn't be going into it when they're probably offering ridiculous returns. I'm not sure what they were offering, okay? I don't know. But they're probably offering 0.5% a day or something like that. Um, obviously they want to offer big returns in order to get you in. Okay, unrealistic returns is quite often with Ponzi schemes. You got to think that inflation's about 10%. Well, it depends where you are in the world. So if as long as you can beat inflation, okay, then you're doing well. You want to try to preserve your money rather than lose it. Okay. If you've got any money, that is. Obviously, a lot of people don't have money and that's why they want 100x. Okay. That's why they get greedy to some extent. If they've got a small bag somewhere and they want to, some savings somewhere, they want to, take that $1,000 and make it into $1 million. All right. Well, more often than not, you're going to make that $1,000 into zero or $100 or something like that. It's more likely to go to 100. Now, some of you might say, well, it was worth the risk. Okay. So yeah, certain things are worth a risk in business. And I see this all the time in the comments. Oh, well, you got to risk it. Oh, well, so what? I lost the money. It was worth the risk. I could have made 1 million from it. All right. If it's a Ponzi scheme, then the chances are it's going to go to zero. Okay. Or you're only going to get like 10% of your money back or something like that. So businesses are worth a risk, but just get your ducks in a row, look out for these red flags. And if there's red flags, just avoid it like the plague. It's not that difficult. And ignore these people say, oh, well, yeah, we know it's risky, but let's go into it anyway. No, no. If it's so risky like this, then it's just way too risky. Okay, way too risky. Um, so there we have it. LSSC was a Ponzi scheme. Whether you can let me know if you were invested in it. I'm sure some of you will be saying, "Oh, well, I did really well out of it." Blah blah blah. The bottom line is these projects. 80+% of people tend to lose the money in these things. Okay, and most people will say, "Oh, I made money on that." All right, but a lot often they're lying. All right, they're just lying. People don't want to say that they lost money in a project. It doesn't feel good. All right, it's just a natural human feeling that you don't want to admit to your losses. You always want to say, I did great on this one and all of that kind of thing. Um, so most people will lose lose their money on this. If not all, then definitely some of it if they go into these kind of things. So just watch out for these Ponzi schemes. Just do a few simple checks and you can avoid these things a lot of the time. Don't get greedy. If something's too good to be true, then often it'll be a scam.